Welcome back to Explaining Everything, the channel where we dive into the strange stories and hidden histories behind the things we think we already understand. Today's question comes from one of our awesome viewers, Jet-Lagged Juan. Thanks for the suggestion, Juan. You asked, when did living abroad become the new dream? Great question, because these days, everyone seems to want to pack up their lives into a 23-kilogram suitcase and start fresh in Portugal, Japan, or literally anywhere with good Wi-Fi and cheap coffee. So today, we're unpacking, yes, pun intended, the rise of the move abroad fantasy. Where it started, who started it, and why so many people now dream of ditching their 9-to-5s for a hammock and a remote job that sounds totally made up. Whether you're actively learning Italian on Duolingo or just wondering why your entire Instagram feed is suddenly in Greece, stick around. We're about to break down the wanderlust wave right here on Explaining Everything. Let's start with a classic comparison. Back in the day, the dream was simple. Finish school, get a job, marry someone who sort of tolerates you, build a house, and slowly turn into your dad. That was success. Now, the dream has Wi-Fi. It goes, quit your job, book a one-way ticket, move to Vietnam, live in a minimalist apartment with plants you name, and become a content creator who teaches English and only eats street food. The American dream has been replaced with the anywhere but here dream. White picket fence. No thanks. We'll take a bamboo hut, a scooter, and a solid VPN. So when did this shift happen? Well, people have always moved abroad, but the motivation used to be survival. In the 1970s and 80s, people left home for work. Think nurses, seamen, engineers, doing tough jobs in foreign lands to send money back. Fast forward to the 2000s, and the internet changed everything. Suddenly, globalization wasn't just a buzzword, it was a lifestyle. Flights got cheaper. YouTube started showing you people working remotely in Thailand. And suddenly, your neighbor's cousin was doing yoga in Costa Rica. Then came social media. And let's be honest, Instagram did more to promote moving abroad than the UN ever did. You see someone post, left everything behind to find peace in Bali, and you're like, cool. I just found mold in my bathroom again. Here's the thing. Most people don't move abroad because they just love culture. They move abroad because they hate everything else. Burnout, toxic work environments, high rent, horrible weather, bland food, and that one coworker who says, let's circle back way too often. Suddenly, moving abroad becomes the ultimate reset button, a way to disappear without faking your own death. And because of remote work, you don't even have to quit your job, you just take it with you. Capitalism, but make it tropical. Enter the era of digital nomads, a group of people who turned working from home into working from anywhere, preferably a place with ocean views and no tax reporting. They wake up at 10, journal about their intentions, work from a cafe in Morocco, and post TikToks like, day in the life of a remote UX designer living in Tulum. Meanwhile, you're on your fourth Zoom call of the day, microwaving last night's rice and wondering if you're technically living or just loading. Digital nomads made moving abroad aspirational. They turned work into something that looks like vacation, until your Wi-Fi cuts out and your client in New York is yelling, "Are you frozen or just ignoring me?" Okay, let's not romanticize too hard. Living abroad is cool, but it's not always smooth sailing. First of all, visas. Nobody ever shows that part on Instagram. You'll see the scenic view, not the 8-hour wait at immigration or the stress of renewing your permit every 60 days like it's a part-time job. Second, language barriers. Your Duolingo streak may be strong, but confidence disappears fast when the waiter responds and you freeze like a deer in Google Translate headlights. Third, homesickness. That moment when you realize you can't get sinigang or your mom's cooking, and suddenly paradise starts tasting a bit bland. And dating. Oh boy, try explaining Filipino family dynamics to someone who thinks a reunion with 60 people is a cult. So, if it's this complicated, why is it still the dream? Because deep down, it represents freedom, the fantasy of starting over, of living life on your own terms, not your company's. It's about being the main character in your own movie, about replacing hustle with balance, meetings with meditation, and boss with blender because you're now selling smoothies on the beach. It's hope. Hope that somewhere life might just be easier, or at least more photogenic. We've all seen those travel vlogs that make walking through a street market look like a spiritual experience. And somewhere in your brain, a little voice whispers, "You know what? Maybe I could sell bracelets in Croatia." So, when did living abroad become the new dream? When the old dream stopped making sense. We're not just looking for better salaries or weather. We're looking for peace, space, maybe even a little reinvention. The fantasy of moving abroad is really about moving forward. It's a rejection of burnout culture, unrealistic expectations, and overpriced oat milk. And sure, not everyone gets to live that dream, but it's not about geography. It's about possibility. And who knows, maybe one day you'll find yourself in a quiet cafe in Madrid, drinking coffee with people who don't know you used to cry in traffic every Monday morning. If you enjoy this video, or you've ever Googled cheap countries to move to because I'm emotionally exhausted, please like and subscribe. Also, if you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for tuning in, and join us next time here in the channel that answers all the why, what, who, where, and how questions you've always wondered about, here on Explaining Everything.